What if the traits you've been trying to suppress your whole life are actually the ones that could move you forward? So let's reframe the seven deadly sins. The seven deadly sins were labeled deadly because unchecked they destroy you. Categorization of these vices are from early Christian theology and are basically used to educate on immoral behaviors. But today we are going to rehabilitate your dark side strategically. So, the goal isn't indulgence, the goal is strategic harnessing. So let's get right into it. We're going to go through each of the deadly sins and show you how you can flip it to get you ahead. Welcome to the channel, all about self-improvement and growth and mindset here. I used to be a psychology researcher, now work in project management, so all about making growth and mindset super practical and strategic. So I hope you enjoy. Let's get right into it. So the first one is pride, and we are going to flip this into delusional confidence. So traditional framing is arrogance and ego. But my strategic reframing is that pride is also irrational self belief. So, the points I want to make here is that every high achiever had a delusional phase, and you must believe something about yourself that is not yet proven. The world rewards people who assume they belong in the room, and if you assume you belong in the room, your energy will be such, and everybody else is going to interpret you that way as well. So the nuance here is that pride without skill, yeah, that's cringe. But pride with action, that leads to immense power. So a little delusion is often just unverified potential. Because if you don't have the resume yet, yeah, but if you know in your head that you can do it and in your heart and in your energy, that's the delusional confidence that you want to channel. Moving on to number 2 is greed, and I am flipping this into ambition without apology. So the traditional framing is that it's selfish accumulation. My strategic reframing is that greed is a desire for expansion, it's aspiration. So the key idea here is if you never want more, you never become more. And I know people like this, and that's great. Like, I'm happy that they're satisfied, but I think you can be satisfied with your life currently while still aspiring to more. So the points I want to make is that wanting a car, the house, the freedom, that's not evil. Desire fuels effort. You cannot manifest what you refuse to admit that you want. So the nuance here is that greed becomes toxic when you want more at the expense of others. And if you chase things that you don't even value, that you only value it because like the Joneses have it next door. So the healthy version is to expand your life and build wealth ethically if you want better and you work for it. And you can't transcend a life that you're fully satisfied with. And again, nuance here, I think you can be fully satisfied with your life. It's just about aspiring to that next level and leveling up. 3 is lust, which I am flipping into intensity and life force. So strategically reframe this as life force energy. So lust is desire, it's passion, it's vitality, it's creative drive. If you suppress desire entirely, you also are going to suppress charisma, magnetism, charm, creativity, because they do ultimately come from the same source. So try this redirection idea. Channel this energy into fitness or business or art. Use attraction as feedback. What do you desire and why? And intensity will make you compelling. It will make you magnetic. So lust redirected becomes magnetism, and that in itself is a superpower. Number 4 is envy as proof of possibility. Now, this one I think is super, super important. So, traditional framing is resentment, strategic framing is clarity. So, the key insight here is that you are rarely jealous of people widely outside your realm. Like, you're typically not going to be jealous of, like, maybe like an A-list celebrity, for example. But you are jealous of your peer, the adjacent creator, the coworker slightly ahead of you. And that means that whatever they have that you are jealous of, it's attainable. So you have to reframe this. Notice the envy, remove the bitterness and toxicity, study the blueprint. The line here is that envy is just unclaimed ambition. If someone in your lane has it, it exists in your lane and it is possible universally for you. 5 is gluttony, cyclical indulgence. So the traditional framing here is that it's overconsumption. My strategic reframing and interpretation is that restriction often causes the very excess of you that you fear. I certainly have experienced this in my life. I think most people have, that if you severely restrict something, and it doesn't only have to be food, that is going to lead to some sort of binge, some sort of overindulgence. Same when you shame it, or when you have like this mental thing about seeing it as red, seeing it as bad. So my hot take is that you should allow indulgence, and when something is not forbidden, it will lose its intensity. So a better approach is just to allow it, and that, even if you feast, it will lead to focus. What you allow will stop controlling you. And I really think that's true. Number 6 is wrath. And I am going to flip this into boundaries and assertiveness. So the traditional framing is destructive anger. I think that wrath is actually boundary enforcement. And I've spoken about this before, that assertiveness is really something that I need to work on. I am not very good at this. Many high functioning, agreeable people don't get angry often. They over tolerate and they under assert. Healthy anger, however, signals violation, it protects time and energy, and it fuels necessary change. So that could be like leaving a toxic job, ending a draining relationship, that could be romantic or platonic, and demanding fair pay. So anger is a guard dog. You need to train it. You don't want to kill it. So don't kill your wrath. Use it for good. 7 is sloth. Strategic recovery is what I am rebranding this as. So traditional framing is laziness. Strategic reframing is that it is nervous system regulation. Constant productivity is unnatural. I think the important points here is that burnout kills long-term progress, and forced productivity leads to rebellion. Rest creates the contrast. And furthermore, I would assert that we are a pendulum. So sometimes when I really let myself, maybe just be totally unproductive and really just like, maybe binge watch a show or something, afterwards I feel that much more excited to be productive. So if you allow the pendulum to swing to sloth, or I think this also counts for gluttony, if you allow it to swing that way, you will swing so much faster to the opposite direction. And in fact, you will build momentum to move forward. So I think that sometimes you gotta allow yourself to rot and to be a sloth, and you can use that as fuel. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is nothing. So the problem isn't the 7 deadly sins. Virtue culture often teaches to suppress and shame and deny, but maturity is to integrate, channel, and strategize. So the goal isn't to become virtuous by amputating your humanity. The goal is to become powerful by mastering it.